Well, this story is getting some attention, and sometimes with enough attention, things start to change. But Facebook has turned over chats of a mother and her daughter to Nebraska police because they were planning a murder. No, they were robbing a bank. No. They served a warrant as part of an investigation into an illegal abortion, according to
Where was this?
court documents in Nebraska.
Wow.
Facebook snitched.
Why did Facebook do that?
They were served a warrant. They handed it over. The investigation was launched in April before the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade.
Is there an abortion emoji, or do you have to write everything out?
Yeah, there will be one.
Is there a
you know, like the
coat hanger emoji?
eggplant is a dick. Oh, Brian.
I'm asking.
So the investigation. Okay, so in this instance, Facebook's turning over information to help law enforcement officials pursue an abortion case.
A skull and a rattle.
Oh my God. But it's also one example of a scenario that abortion rights experts have warned about that will be common. This isn't, the private matters are no longer private.
So is this
And by the
just
way-
what it is on its face?
Well, let me tell you. I'll tell you exactly what happened according to them. So Madison County prosecutors, because they're trying to prosecute, say Jessica Burgess, she's 41, acquired and gave abortion pills to her daughter. Now, that could be the Plan B or, whatever. I'm not really sure. Who was 17, her 17-year-old daughter at the time. And then they had to secretly bury the embryo in the backyard, give it a private burial because they didn't know what to do.
Wait, I don't know that much.
That's
but
what it says.
Is it? Don't you go full goldfish with the? All right,
boy.
wait a minute.
Ooh, Mr. Big.
There's the morning after pill,
Yeah.
but that's not the abortion pill.
Well-
That's RU 486.
Look at you.
Well, I've always thought it was weird that they named it RU 486 because it looks like a vanity
Question,
license
yeah.
plate. When you 86 somebody, you come RU.
So the answer is yes.
86ing
Yes, I am
this
for
fetus.
86ing.
Yes,
You
very
are
much.
for 86ing
That's
this
true.
fetus.
It's got to be an inside joke, like from the development stage.
Well, because all those, names are made up anyway.
Yeah.
Are you
for
I
86ing
just picture
this?
it in a license plate.
Are you 469?
You're right.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I never thought about that.
I was always like, it's like Premarin
Yep.
is
Mare urine.
mare urine. But I was like, I'd pick two other words and put them together. You know what I mean?
Horse piss. LX.
Yeah, I don't know. Put some happy euphemistic spin on it. I have no idea where they ended up with RU 486, but it reads like you're 86ing
Yeah,
a
that's-
At
fetus.
least it's accurate.
So, then you take the pill, but I thought you took the pill at a point. I think if you had to bury something, we were past the pill.
Possibly. Well, I'm out of my depth on this one.
Depends on when you take it, I guess.
Yeah.
Could be a cluster that comes, out.
All right.
So according to a sworn affidavit from the detective of Norfolk Police Investigation Unit, police started with a tip from a fucking snitch, a woman who described herself as a friend of the teenager.
Not for long.
Who said she saw her take a pill in April and reported it to the police. And then they got a warrant for Facebook talking to her mother.
Wait, how could you possibly see somebody like I walked into her bedroom
Hey,
at
you know what this
midnight?
is?
She had
Yeah,
a-
right.
She had a pill that I recognized. How is I saw
I don't
you
know.
took a. And look, if somebody said, "Here's a pill for an abortion," you'd probably take it. Probably close the door. Maybe
Close the bathroom
Wait till you're
door.
alone.
Just like head into the bathroom or
Yeah.
something. I saw her take a pill.
Go in the town square, let everybody know.
Yeah, but
Well,
and
if it
what
was a friend, she probably told her, it's like, guess what this is? I don't know.
Yeah, she must have. Yeah.
So Facebook, I know a lot of people got a lot of shit on those Facebook Messenger back and forth. So all kinds of stuff.
This is a very
I'll be
eerie
right back.
harbinger.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Where do they get the name RU486, Chris?
The company that made it, it was the 38,486th version, and the
Boo.
company starts with RU. So
Like WD-40.
yeah, it's like Rassel Ulaf or something like that, and then so it's shortened.
But then the four. But does anyone?
486 is 38,486th version, or
Wow.
whatever,
But does anyone raise their hand and go?
Say,
You know,
I know we landed on this totally randomly. That said,
we got another drug that we're just putting the finishing touches on that is for your urethra blockage, and we could do that, and then we could make you RU487, and we could avoid my kids.
People won't trust it because that's too high a number.
My kids were supposed to be born on 666. That was their date. That was their due date.
And you were too superstitious to allow this?
it was shocking at the time.
No, it was. I wasn't really. It was just sort of discussed. Like, well, can you have a C-section the following day? Like, yeah. It's like, all right, let's do that then.
I have to say, I'm surprised.
That's all it was. First
That
off,
was a big wedding date.
They need all the fucking help they can get. Number one. Number two.
They should hope to have Satan on their side.
It's like saying, I don't know. It's basically like saying, hey, we're going to be in Maui, and we can either come home on Friday the 13th or Saturday the 14th, and you just go, I don't know, let's do Saturday. Like I'll flip a coin. If it's a coin toss, let's not fly on Friday the 13th. That's basically what that is.
You know me. I'm insane. I have no thoughts about this.
About
flying on
666?
Friday the 13th or 666.
Well, I guess if somebody said,
Heathen.
when Friday the 13th, by the way, used to be a bigger deal.
Yeah.
They made movies about
the
it.
best.
There was shit that went down.
Wonder ladders.
It was basically the Devil's Triangle,
Right.
the Bermuda Triangle. It had something. It doesn't carry much black cats crossing in front. There was a
Everything's
thing.
been debunked.
If they would have, you got a hold of somebody in this country, more so 20 years ago, and said, would you like to go skydiving on Friday the 13th or the following Friday the 20th?
They'd have an
most
opinion.
Americans would go, we'll just wait. Yeah, or we'll go the one before.
I'm not in a hurry.
That's what I'm saying.
I think you're right. I think it did have more gravitas in the
had
80s.
gravitas.
Yeah. All right.
You'd have, if it was Friday the 13th, they would announce it, and you'd have to kind of think about it a little bit. Like, what am I doing today?
Triskaidekaphobia.
That's after you eat turkey.
Triskaidekaphobia?
Triskaidekaphobia. Fear of Friday the 13th.
Is
Or
that
the number
what that is?
13. Or yeah.
General fear of 13.
There you go. And yeah, like it's 2022 and there's still elevators without a 13th floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, just saw that in Chicago.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's talk Britney Spears.
Yeah.
So TMZ reports that Kevin Federline has had enough of Britney Spears' public attacks on their sons together. A lot of Instagram posts about it. Sean Preston and Jaden James. And now he wants to show the world just how contentious he says Britney's relationship has been with the boys for years. They weren't allowed to go to the wedding and she got all pissed about it. Well, Federline posted a series of videos Wednesday night saying, I cannot sit back and let my sons be accused in this way after what they've been through. As much as it hurts, we decided as a family to post these videos of the boys took when they were 11
much
and
as it
12.
Not the whole family.
Yeah.
This isn't even the worst of it. The lies have to stop. I hope our kids grow up to be better than this. So in one video, she's in the car with the boys and saying she took one of their phones away for a week because one of them showed up without shoes on and it was cold out and she was in shock. And as a little brother and he's your blood, how could you allow this? So it really didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then here's this one. It sounds like she's talking to the younger one. Check out the vocal range she goes through in about 60 seconds.
They thought something was wrong with me because I had your boobs are poking out.
Come in here when we're trying to go to bed, and then you just go and you
It's
say,
my house. If I forget something, then this is my house. If I want to come in here and give you lotion for your face because it is coarse, and all you tell me, no, it's fine, it's fine. No, it's not fine. You all better start respecting me. Are we clear?
yeah.
And when Robin calls, and you're all, even Robin's a fucking kid. She goes, what have you been doing to your kids? You all need to start treating me like a woman with worth. I am a woman, okay? Be nice to me.
She's bringing a lot of extraneous stuff into this
Yeah, put a lot
conversation.
on the
What's going on with the lotion?
kids. Because your face is coarse. I've never heard
The
that.
11-year-old needs lotion?
I
Did he
guess.
get frostbite?
Coarse is not a word I've ever heard to
And also the whole
explain a face.
walking around with no shoes. This bitch is naked in half
That's
the posts I
true.
see her in. All she's wearing is her hand over her cooter. cooter hand. Strong cooter hand.
Don't break it. That's a cooter hand.
You've heard of pimp hand. This
Actually,
is cooter hand.
Strong cooter hand.
Ben, if it's convenient, I don't know if you're on the page or not, but can you pull up that other video? I don't know if you have it up or not. We weren't going to have it. But yeah, it's hard to figure out. It's not like, oh, I see what the problem is. It's so hard to follow what the fuck she's talking about that I can't really even distill it into anything.
Well, there's big free Britney movement and everything, but in this case, can't sort of both sides be right? Like, can't she be sort of unfit and nutty? And can't the parents be horrible custodians and money grubbing at the same time?
But if she's unfit, that's a family court issue. Like maybe she shouldn't have her kids all the time. It doesn't mean you can take her money away. It's all her money.
Also, whether it's her or like Alec Baldwin. Remember everyone went nuts over Alec Baldwin yelling at his daughter.
Thoughtless little piggy.
And whatever. Historically, parents have yelled at kids.
And how?
We've not really had recording devices back in the 1600s.
Yeah.
You had a scroll and a stenographer, but they couldn't write that fast.
Yeah.
You had parchment, a guy trying to draw you with your hand up in there.
Quill real fast.
Right. But this notion of like, we have a tape of this parent yelling at their kid, it's pretty ubiquitous shit.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I don't think that now being a parent, I get that completely, whatever. But this is like she's going back and forth, like in the hall, talking about her boobs, the kids trying to sleep,
It seems
the vocal
a little
gymnastics.
Seems a little nutty.
This is, I think we have part of the car rant where she's talking about taking his phone away for a week because he didn't have shoes on.
Have you lost your mind? I do care, but I'm shocked as with you. And I don't know what to do. And I'm scared of you because you're weird, because you're going through puberty. I was in shock in the store when I looked down, and Jaden, how are you so cool about that? Your brother being with Bear's big feet, size 13 now?
Well, he's my brother.
And all the more exposed, his feet, your blood in an ice cream shop in Alaska weather? Don't you think that's a little odd? No. Oh,
Isn't
yeah, I think
the inside of all ice cream shops Alaska weather? I feel like
That's a good point.
it is
It's
full
rarely
of frozen
balmy.
containers.
Yeah. Frosty.
Yeah,
How
go into
old
a
was
bakery if you want to warm up.
That's true.
How old were those kids?
In that one, I think the oldest one was 15. So the other one's like 13 or 14.
My parents rarely cursed around me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad,
I think Christy's parents did.
I think my dad yelled cocksucker once, and
Oh,
I
boy.
know exactly where I was.
Did he get rear-ended or something? Or someone?
No, but you have your memory is sort of correct. I was, we're going down Laurel Canyon to his shitbox apartment, and I'd taken his trumpet mouthpiece and I held it out the window because I thought, my mind was going to make a Louis Anderson.
Noise.
I'm not Louis Anderson, Louis Armstrong. It was going to make a trumpet sound if I held it out the window, and I dropped it. And, of course, it was probably $11 worth of mouthpiece, so we had to stop and search for it and everything. And it was nicked up. You'd have to. My dad would have had to have. If you gave that to me, I'd just walk into the shop and have like Sean buff it out with some memory, whatever. But my dad didn't have those skills. And I think he yelled cocksucker.
At you?
No, to the heavens where God is.
You're not going to believe it. I have the sound that the thing made as a drop. Yeah.
You want pants? I need rent.
Yeah, it's Louis Anderson.
That's Louis. Yeah.
This is how cool my parents could be back in the day. The rule in our house set by my dad was you can only swear if you're not yelling at someone in anger. So if it's part of a joke or
That's
your shtick,
that's good.
We'll look the other way, but you don't look at someone and swear at them.
So for comedic emphasis.
Exactly.
Yeah, my parents they didn't talk, so there wasn't a lot of opportunity for swearing. Swearing will come out with talkers a lot because they'll be rolling along and shit'll come flying out.
You got to talk to swear.
The when you just told your cocksucker story, this memory that I've never shared with anyone because it was pretty traumatic at the time. The best was visiting my dad or us all coming out here when we were little, and he was taking us to Knott's Berry Park. But he was kind of...
Is Knott's Berry Park the same as Knott's Berry Farm?
Farms. I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Thank you.
And
Knott's
there's
Berry
a place
Farm.
across the street for
you're
poor
right.
people.
You're right.
Can't
It
get
is.
in.
It's the kids, the poor Disney. But
It is, yeah.
$22 too rich for
a
your
lot
blood.
of rampant ADD in our family and a lot of unchecked all kinds of stuff. And so at the time, so he's driving around and we can't find a parking space and he's getting pissed and he starts yelling at us in the back. This place is called Knott's Berry Fuck. It's Knott's Berry Fuck.
Wow.
Yelling at us and
Unhinged dad is a good. Unhinged dad.
he wasn't mad at us, but he needed to get it out.
Yeah. They closed it a few weeks ago because too many
Yeah.
people fist fighting.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh no.
Classy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love my dad, by the way. You all know that, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, let's move on to somebody who might not be as proud of their dad. Armie Hammer. We've been asking where he is, what he's doing. And there was that rumor that he was selling timeshares.
How does that even, like, speaking of his dad, like, what if you were there along for the ride, like you're a friend of the family, friend of the parents, and what have you, and you were there for Social Network and, I don't know,
What else was he in?
Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger,
And he was
whatever.
in one of their really big movies.
You see it, and then at some point, and then you just went to do missionary work in the Congo or something, and then you came back.
Yeah.
Like
That
5 years
handsome
later,
pillar
and
of the
they're like,
community.
Whatever happened to that
is he
dashing-
running Hollywood yet? Like, no, what happened? And you'd be like, what did he do? Did he drop the N-bomb or something? Would he injure himself somehow? He can't speak? Oh, yeah.
I'm vegan. He wasn't talking about eating meat, was he?
Right.
Touched a woman inappropriately.
Yeah, is there some Me Too-y thing? Like, how
to
would
put
you
your
even
finger on it.
describe
Endorsed Donald
that
Trump.
guy? Yeah, right.
Well, the good news is we won't have to describe it. It will be described to us because on Discovery Plus, September 2nd, there is a docuseries about what the hell is going on with this family. It's called The House of Hammer, and it is
It's on Landor.
this thing goes
Good gay porn
back.
bar. The House of Hammer.
Actually, you know what? Well, I only grabbed a minute of it, but I kind of want to watch the whole thing. It's kind of
Me
long, though.
too.
But the series will air on September 2nd, and it gets into the legacy of the Hammer family, alleging many of the men had a real dark side. Armie's Aunt Casey, she has a self-published book from 2015 called Surviving My Birthright, where she claims that her father sexually abused her and just like a lot of dark shit. But here's a minute of the trailer with two of the alleged victims of Armie Hammer. It starts out with one of them reading a text.
Yeah, Hammer time.
Don't hurt
House of
him.
Hammer.
Reading a text allegedly from Armie Hammer.
I have a fantasy about having someone prove their love and devotion and tying them up in a public place at night and making their body for use and seeing if they will f strangers for me.
My bet was going to involve showing up at your place and completely tying you up and incapacitating you and then being able to do whatever I wanted to every single hole in your body until I was done with you.
Sounds polite.
In the beginning, I felt like this was all perfect. This was amazing.
He would say things, God, you're so perfect.
How could you be this beautiful, this smart, so funny?
It's like you're made for me.
But then things changed. He pushes your boundaries a little bit at a time. You're his, completely.
These are messages that are being sent literally within seconds of each other.
I mean, he said, I'm 100% a cannibal. I'm freaking out.
It was all he wanted to ever talk about.
Then I get a note that says I'm
Gonna bite the fuck out of you. And and then it goes on to say like the family was Casey, the aunt says, think of Succession, for anyone who's watched Succession, that times a million in terms of just like legacy power.
They're rich, right?
Yeah, they're oil tycoons.
Something, not the Arm and Hammer
No.
thing, but something.
But the
something
grandfather's name is Armin Hammer.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
That's what he's named after. So I'm very looking forward to seeing this.
Well, I
It's
haven't
crazy.
used this phrase in a while, but it's perfect. It takes all kinds.
There you go.
That's what they used to say when we didn't understand what people were up to.
Or as my mom says, that's why there's 31 flavors of ice cream.
Yeah.
I like her version.
Now I would argue, well, that stuff was pretty gripping and damning. The music,
unnecessary.
If you put wacky sax underneath that from Benny Hill.
Who knows, like he's so objectively good looking and possibly has been in the bubble his entire life, coddled and catered to and given whatever he wants and looks so handsome that you're like we've talked about, your pleasure centers get burnt out and you have to go to the next crazy thing to like feel something.
Well, yeah, it's a Richard Gere hamster theory. But I don't know where you guys come down, but I would say you get assigned sexual proclivities and interests and things like that. You just get assigned those either at birth or when you're 13 or whatever it is. And
yeah, it's those first formative years, right, where you're going to be either twisted or set upon a straight and narrow path.
But there is a version of twisting someone's sexuality.
Yes.
There's also just a certain amount of dudes who like other dudes. That's just where you're at. You're 13, you're a dude, and you like other dudes. Now, that would have been life-destroying in many other times. It is life-destroying in many cultures. So you would have a difficult time in the Middle East if this is what you were discovering about yourself, and you could get killed because of it, but you like dudes. And I would imagine if you're in the Middle East and you had an older uncle or dad, he might tell you to knock it off. You're going to get killed. But I'll bet you those dudes still find other dudes and hook up with those dudes, and both dudes could be put in a burlap sack and thrown off of a roof. There's ass dudes, there's boob dudes, there's eye dudes. I don't trust them. They like looking at people's eyes. There's just dudes. Like, how do you distinguish between the boob dude and the ass dude, and who made them? And what societal pressure? Oh, my grandpappy was an ass man. It's just, there's a thing that sets in. Yeah. And I'm starting to think of pedophilia being that way, even though it can be created in the lab because you were abused. Right. But whatever Army's got, I feel like
that's in the DNA.
What? For the grace of God, we could have gone that way, too. I could have had a hankering for a hunk of flesh at some point. Yeah, it's kind of fun, though.
Wait, is that the new hunk of cheese guy?
It's just like we talk about, we talk about the guys that just can't be satiated. You know the guys are like, on his honeymoon night, after he laid down with his bride, he went out and got a prostitute. It's like... And then at some point they get busted, and at some point they're on TMC, and at some point they lose their marriage and their job or whatever.
Well, and that's addiction, right?
Yeah, it's just like we did kind of do that with addiction. We went, look, it's a genetic thing. It's a disease. We say knock it off. Just stop at 2 drinks. Right. Why do you have to have a third? But that's us. Right. That's not the addicted. Right. You know what I mean? And hey, Army, knock it off. Or hey, guy in the Middle East.
Right.
Quit yearning for chode, But I don't know. Maybe we're oversimplifying it, and maybe we're also kind of doing, what Linda Hamilton did with us about food. Like, well, just stop eating.
Just don't eat as much.
Yeah,
hated that.
Have some stream water and go to bed. It's like, that's not what we do. We sit around and think about food all day.
Yeah. Speaking of oversimplifying, I should mention that when I said you'd be twisted in those first years as opposed to being put down a narrow path, I wasn't talking about being gay. I was talking about wanting to eat people's ribs.
Yes.
Lest anyone think I was.
But how much different is...
You said straight.
Whatever it is you want sexually, if that's what's in you. And could you... as a boob man, go to prison and be talked out of it after 11 years and then released, and you just go, they do that thing where it's, he went right back to doing what he was doing. Yeah, that's what he wants to do.
And that's the thing. It's like, I understand like 12-step programs and all that. And, if you're sober for 35 years, you still say like, I'm an alcoholic, But when Army Hammer goes to rehab because he wants to like eat people and fuck them. I don't know. Can you change that in 2 months?
They're gonna have to go Clockwork Orange on his ass.
Yeah,
keep his eyes open. Some horrific images.
Get boner.
I argue that kind of stuff that's off the beaten path is harder to eradicate because it's so powerful and so deep. And I'm imagining it probably just like the 19-year-old boy in the Middle East. He probably wishes he wasn't gay.
Of course.
So
you could go along to get along.
Here we are.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's an exchange program, because I do wish I was gay. Fucking me and Joel McHale just take off.
Into the sunset.
Start a new life, you know what I mean? Dual income, you know?
And how?
Yeah.
Lots of that.
You can get him a permit.
Holding permits, getting polls.
Permit. He'll give me a perm. I'll give him a permit. Yeah.
You pull his permit, he pulls.
Better life.
Yeah.
My pud. All right, let's bring it home. Pud pulling. Do you remember pud pulling from beating off?
Yeah, of course.
Pull
He's
your
in there
pud.
pulling his pud.
That's right.
Is that like pocket pool?
No, it's just jacking off.
It's just jacking off. Good old fashioned jacking off. But
Tugging on your pud.
They call it pulling your pud.
Remember what you guys enlightened me to years ago? That you would yell at. Can't say it.
Pud whacker was the term.
Are you something off with yourself? I can't say it.
Oh, God.
Fagging off with yourself.
Oh, fagging off with yourself. Yeah, that was the whole thing.
That was probably before my time.
I had never heard that term
that
I
before.
don't think I'd heard that before. Mr.
yeah.
Carolla introduced it to my life.
Yeah, that's
That
a
was
real thing.
Crazy.
And, factually pretty accurate, I would say, if you just filmed it.
Okay.
You know.
Would you like me to bring it home?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Uglier girls F better.
Gina. That was the news with Gina.
That was hurtful,
Grad.
Chris.
I'm going to give you a crazy bit of trivia that has no business on the show, but you mentioned Pud Whacker. There is an obscure and yet star-studded movie called Cruise. C-R-U-Z, but with, I believe, Ben Affleck's in it. I believe Matthew McConaughey's in it. Before they were stars, this is like circa 96. And Matt Damon, then unknown relatively, Matt Damon plays a cameo. I don't think he has any lines, and his name is Edgar Pudwacker.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Now,
That's extremely weird, but I had to unload that.
Yes. And how could a man with a brain tumor possibly access that? I say this is all just an elaborate ruse, and you're fine.
Cruise was renamed School Days if you're looking for it.
Glory days.
Glory
Yes,
Days.
School Days Spike Lee.
Oh, and it's back.
Yeah, I was way, as Adam Carolla would say, I was way off.
Way off. All right. I'm going to be in Salt Lake City, Wise Guys Comedy Club, coming up this Friday and Saturday. We'll do 2 live shows, 2 live pods, and then stand-up shows as well. You can go to adamcarolla.com for all the stuff and get the book. 8 hours and 34 minutes worth of audiobook. My longest effort, but we did not raise the price. I am Rappaport. Michael Rappaport can be found on iHeartMedia as well. And until next time, this is Adam from Michael and Gina and Bald saying mahalo.
I support reality. I support what's fair, what's right. And it certainly isn't cool, dope, fresh, or American to be able to walk into a Rite Aid and just pack your bag and not even feel scared to do that. Like, normally, back in my days, if you stole a pack of gum, like your heart should be racing.